Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're tackling something that is practically guaranteed to spike the blood pressure of anyone going through the retirement planning process. We are unpacking exactly why a Social Security spousal benefit might get denied. And, more importantly, we're going to uncover the hidden factors behind those rejections that you probably aren't even aware of. If you or maybe someone you know has applied for a spousal benefit only to be turned down, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down the 5 most common hurdles so you can understand exactly how this whole system actually works. Picture this. You walk out to the mailbox. You pull out that very official, super intimidating envelope from the Social Security Administration, and you open it up, only to find a denial letter. It's just an incredibly defeating feeling, isn't it? There's this immediate sense of panic, maybe some frustration. You've keyed into the system for years, you followed all the rules, and suddenly a government agency is flat out telling you no. It's completely natural to feel totally overwhelmed in that moment. But here is the absolute golden rule of today's explainer. A denial doesn't always mean you don't qualify. Honestly, that's a massive myth. Far too many people just assume that a rejection letter is a permanent door slammed right in their face. But in reality, it's often just a temporary roadblock. A denial is frequently just the result of a highly fixable error, maybe a slight misstep in timing, or a really simple misunderstanding of the rules. There are hidden reasons behind these letters, and we're going to expose them one by one. Reason number 1, the claiming sequence. So, this is where a lot of really well-meaning couples trip up right out of the gate. There's this common misunderstanding out there that you can just decide to collect a spousal benefit whenever it happens to work best for your personal calendar. But there is actually a mandatory sequence of events that you have to follow. Step 1, your spouse, the primary earner whose record you're claiming against, must already be receiving their own Social Security retirement or disability benefit. Only then can we move to step 2, where you actually qualify for the spousal benefit. You literally cannot jump the line. If your husband or wife hasn't filed their claim yet, your application for a spousal benefit is going to be automatically denied. It's a strict chain reaction. Reason number 2, timing and age requirements. Even if you get that claiming sequence exactly right, age is going to be your next hurdle. So the crucial point is age 62. That is the absolute earliest age you can claim a spousal benefit. If you apply at 61 and 11 months, you're getting a denial letter. The system is incredibly rigid about this minimum age threshold. But just because you hit 62 doesn't mean you're totally in the clear to maximize your payout. You really need to be aware of the consequences of claiming at that minimum age. Because while you are technically allowed to claim a spousal benefit at 62, filing early permanently reduces your monthly payment. And I want to be clear here, it's not some temporary penalty that just magically goes away when you hit your full retirement age. It is a permanent reduction, locked in for the rest of your life. So when you're dealing with timing, you have to ensure you're meeting the minimum age just to avoid a flat-out denial, sure. But you also have to carefully weigh if claiming early is actually the right strategic move for your long-term income. Reason number 3, the marriage duration rules. Social Security has some very specific requirements regarding how long you actually need to be married, and the rule book changes drastically depending on your current marital status. So if you're currently married, the hurdle is relatively low. You generally must have been married for at least 1 full year before applying. Simple enough, right? But if you're divorced and trying to claim against an ex-spouse's record, the rules are way stricter. You must have been married for at least 10 consecutive years to that person. And crucially, you must currently remain unmarried. If your marriage lasted, say, 9 years and 11 months, or if you were married for 15 years but you've since remarried, your claim is going to be denied. The criteria here are very black and white. Reason number 4, when your benefit is higher. I like to call this one the plot twist of Social Security, mostly because it surprises a massive number of applicants who thought they had absolutely everything perfectly calculated. And this brilliantly illustrates what actually happens. When your application is processed, the Social Security Administration looks at your own personal retirement benefit, the one based on your own work history, and they compare it against the potential spousal benefit you could receive. You do not get both. If your own retirement benefit happens to be higher than the spousal amount, the government is simply going to pay you your own benefit. You won't get a single dime from the spousal side. Let me just reiterate this point so it is super clear. Social Security does not automatically pay both full benefits. You cannot just stack your retirement check on top of a spousal check to get this awesome double payment. You get whichever amount is larger, period. So if your claim for a spousal benefit is denied, it might actually just be because your own hard-earned benefit is already the larger of the two options. It's not a punishment, it's literally just the math of the system working exactly as designed. Reason number 5, fixing paperwork mistakes. We've talked a lot about complex timing and all these intricate marriage rules, but sometimes a denial comes down to the most mundane, everyday clerical errors imaginable. We're talking incorrect birth dates typed into a form, missing marriage records that were just never uploaded, a single digit being off on a social security number, or honestly just leaving a mandatory box unchecked on an incomplete application. These are incredibly simple mistakes, but remember, the government's computer system doesn't know you just made a typo. It just sees missing or mismatched data, and boom, it kicks out a denial letter. It is absolutely vital to review every single detail before hitting submit, because these very ordinary roadblocks happen every single day. Next steps, how to take action. Let's move to and see how this builds. So, what happens if the damage is already done? If you're sitting at your kitchen table staring at one of those denial letters right now, it's time to shift from worrying about the problem to actually executing the solution. Step 1, read that denial notice carefully. Don't just skim it in a panic and throw it in a drawer. The letter actually explicitly states the reason for their decision. Step 2, once you know the reason, maybe it's that missing marriage certificate we talked about or an age error, gather the missing evidence or correct the paperwork. And finally, step 3, appeal within the deadline. If you believe they made a mistake or if you now have the right documents in hand, you have the total right to appeal. But you really have to respect their ticking clock, so act quickly. I want to leave you with this really reassuring fact straight from our source material. Many denied claims are later approved after missing documents are provided or errors are corrected. Just let that sink in for a second. A denial is not the end of the road. Most of the time, it's just a request for more accuracy, better timing, or maybe clearer documentation. Stay organized, stay persistent, and you can very often turn that no into a yes. That wraps up our explainer on spousal benefit denials. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to subscribe so you can stay updated on all things related to Social Security, Medicare, and retirement planning. We're here to empower you with the knowledge you need to protect your monthly income. But before you go, I have a question for you to ponder. What other Social Security